This, as the nation and the world really kind of attempts to absorb everything President Trump did on his first day in office. Several of the president's first day actions focused on immigration, border security, one of his top issues during the campaign. These actions included ending birthright citizenship for future children born in the U.S. to mothers who were here undocumented, declaring a national emergency at the southern border, suspending refugee resettlement in the United States, declaring Mexican cartels and 2 Latin American gangs foreign terrorist organizations, and ending the CBP One program, that app for asylum seekers. That move has left tens of thousands of people waiting in limbo in Mexico, trying to figure out their next steps.
Creo que habemos muchas personas que esperamos por mucho tiempo y creo que está mal que haya, como por ejemplo, cancelado las citas que ya estaban programadas. Y yo sí entiendo que pues hayan cancelado la aplicación, ¿va? Pero pienso de que las citas no deberían haber sido, porque hay muchas personas que realmente sí lo necesitamos. Y que pues viajamos por motivos bastante difíciles, que casi todos creo que pasamos por muchas cosas así cuando venimos de nuestro país.
A woman who's in Mexico saying that people have been waiting for such a long time, and she thinks that it's wrong that the appointments that were already set for many people were actually canceled along with the app. She says a lot of people have been waiting and really need asylum and have faced really difficult things when leaving their countries. And now that opportunity is shut down. With us now, Washington Post reporter Arelis Hernandez in El Paso, Texas. Alan Orr, an immigration attorney, past president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. And Krish O'Mara Vijayarajah, president and CEO of Global Refuge, which helps refugees settle here in the United States. So, Arelis, you were with migrants in Ciudad Juarez when they found out about their asylum appointments being canceled. There's that video that you recorded of how they reacted to the news. Let me go to that. Arelis, what was that moment like?
Well, to tell the truth, there was a lot of shock at the beginning. Like, people didn't know how to react. They were looking for confirmation, either through friends and family or from us or Mexican officials who were coming down the bridge to deliver the news. And it was shock. And then as slowly as time progressed, people realized that their opportunity to enter the United States had evaporated with the executive order.
And so the CBP One actually shut down, and then also, Arelis, the appointments that had been already agreed to were canceled as well.
That's correct. A lot of the people who were in line at that time, they would have been for the 1 p.m. appointment, and so they had gotten there early, and actually CBP officials on the bridge had told them to come back at 11 a.m., and they had stood waiting in line, something that happens every day at 8 different ports of entry. They were still on the impression that they still might be able to come off the bridge, but last Friday, actually, many of these people received a notice on the CBP app that they had been reprogrammed to February 8th or February 9th as well. So some people are still holding out hope that this suspension is temporary.
Yeah, and Julia, my question would be, is that suspension temporarily, as some hope for? I mean, what happens to the people who had already received appointments through an app, which is the way the government, till yesterday, told the people this is the way legally to deal with trying to ask for asylum.
Right. Well, they were incentivized to come this way. And as we know, because of a legal pathway through that app and through other legal pathways the Biden administration set up, there was a sharp decrease in the number of people trying to cross the border illegally. They were told, this is the way, get in line. And now they've come to the end of the road there. And that's why you see that devastation. Now, if it's up to the Trump administration, they don't want to ever see this app again. And they wouldn't on their own restore these appointments. But there is a legal challenge. We just saw yesterday the ACLU asked for an emergency hearing. here at a federal court in D.C., saying that this judge can no longer allow CBP 1 to be canceled along with some of the asylum restrictions the Biden administration already put in place. Because CBP 1 was the one argument the Biden administration had to say, look, we do still allow asylum. So with this canceled, it effectively ends this international right for people to claim asylum when they're fleeing fear and persecution at the U.S. border. So that's something the courts are going to have to grapple with now, Jose. If this is canceled, what window, what opportunity does anyone have to actually escape fear and come to the United States?
Yeah, I mean, and Krish, I mean, there are very few avenues for people who are trying to leave their areas and come to the United States to request asylum. I mean, one of the issues, of course, Donald Trump also another executive order yesterday suspending that refugee resettlement program, which was a bipartisan supported program. What is the impact of that?
It's going to have huge implications. When President Trump signed the executive orders, he highlighted how he supports legal immigration. When you think about the refugee resettlement program, this is a program that has operated over more than 4 decades. We've resettled as many refugees under Republican administrations as Democratic administrations. President Reagan resettled over 600,000 refugees. These are people who go through extreme vetting. They go through health clearances. They wait their turn. And only when they are processed do they come into the U.S.
Right. So this is from outside the U.S. The process begins, and it begins, middle, and ends before they even enter the United States. And so who are those people that have been coming in?
So these are people from Ukraine, Afghanistan, Syria, the Democratic Republic of Congo. They cross an international border. They apply through the United Nations or through the U.S. Embassy. And so thousands are now paralyzed because they waited their turn. They went through the legal process, and now the program has been suspended.
And Jose, I'll just say on that, too, the language in that executive order was so vague. It says that the refugee admissions program is suspended until it aligns with U.S. interest. That's a very nebulous goal to reach.